Everyone, welcome to week five, part two of Digital Forensics Com 294. We're going to talk now about location tools and actually demo some of them. In the earlier video up here, I talked about just the overview and little slideshow on them. And you can find many of these tools on our week five handout. You don't necessarily have to use them or roll along with them, but you can if you want to. Most of them are free, but some like GeoSpy you have to pay for, which yours is not required for this class. Your homework is pretty light this week. Verification Handbook Chapter 3. Just do items 7 through 8, 7 and 8. Those are the ones that you need to do because heading into next week, we're going to be starting on your final paper. So a little lighter week here, kind of between your midterm exercise and the week six final paper for class, which we'll get to in the week six folder. So in your week five folder, you have a handout here on tools for geolocating images, tips on dealing with harassment. That's going to come toward the end when I talk about troll busters. They've got a nice little graphic in here that walks you through what to do for being harassed. The reason I bring that up is, media uh, people, fact checkers, we're often targets of harassment online. I've been through it myself after doing a fact checking session at a conference in Washington, D.C. I had a right wing group that had been kicked out of that conference come after me. I had nothing to do with it, but they just saw it were coming after anybody that was involved with the conference and attacking us online. It's a pretty tense situation. But I'm going to show you a chat bot that can be very helpful for dealing with that. Um, so this is geolocating images handout, and I've got a few of them listed in here. Image Whisperer, which we're going to use in a couple of weeks. Journals Toolbox fact checking page. Just search the page for the word image, and you'll find many of them. Geolocation estimation. You can upload a photo to find the location. Picarda does it as well. GeoSpy is the paid version. It'll analyze large sets of images and generate insights from the data. You can even have the metadata stripped out of them, and they'll still help you find the location of them, which is pretty cool. This is good old-fashioned Google Earth, earth.google.com. And just for practice purposes, I'm going to open up an image here. Imagine if somebody sent you a photo and said, there was a shooting today inside the Topeka State Capitol building. And it was a picture of the Capitol building. Let's say there's some police cars around here that's roped off. And you look at this image, and if you're not from Topeka, Kansas, you see this very large building. You don't really know what it is. So there's a couple ways you can fact check this. One is to go into images.google.com, which we've played with in here before, and Topeka State Capitol building. Just search for a photo of it. This doesn't look like that other image. Now I'm on to something. I can also go into Google Earth if you prefer, and if maybe you need a little more context of the area around it. And it'll give me a nice 360 3D image. Come in as 2D, and I can zoom in, zoom out, go over to the 3D. That doesn't look like anything in that area. Look at all the trees around it. The building's different. So you can confirm, that this is not the Topeka State Capitol building. And two, you can do it with, it's really helpful for smaller areas too. Let's say, maybe there was a shooting in front of this building, and somebody gave you the address, and you could zoom in, zoom out, and then just do a little 360 rotation to get in front of the building and kind of see, what those buildings look like. Is there an empty parking lot across the street? Look for trees, street signs. You can zoom in and get down to the street sign level and confirm, did it really happen on this street or is it some other street name? So, you can, a lot of times people just get facts wrong too. Is this building across the street really a Walgreens? You look for the landmarks. This is kind of a funky looking building too. I would see if it's in the background of one of the images that were sent to me. So Earth makes a very good tool for that as well as image search. Because sometimes you might do an image search on an obscure location and get nothing. But if you go into Google Earth, you're going to get, there's probably not a picture of the front of this Walgreens. You could try in Google image search, probably aren't going to get too many results. But if you go into Google Earth, especially for rural areas like that, it recognizes longitude, latitude. You can just put it in up here and determine a rural area or get a pinpoint on a rural area. We actually have done that with the President Trump shooting photo, measuring the distance from the gunman to him. So it's a very good tool up here. It's the measure tool, the ruler right here. You can also use the measure tool too to measure, maybe there was police chase through this parking lot and you knew it went down through here and they caught him down in here. And you need to measure how long that police chase was. It's roughly 82 meters. You can convert it into yards too. So that's another good fact checking thing. And really, this is almost a reporting tool more so than fact checking, using it to measure those distances. Here's another good tool, map checking. I believe I've talked about this one before. It's a mashup. It's a tool by Anthony Cattell. And he created a little mashup with Google Maps here. And I can search up in this area up here and just go into, I'll do the US Capitol building. And maybe this was the day of the insurrection, January 6th of 2021. And I'll zoom in here. And based on the images I was looking at and the videos in real time of what I saw, I was able to kind of estimate and paint this little area out here and get how many people were out on the steps of the US Capitol. And I actually had it around 2 people per square meter. Painted the area a little bigger. It was just under 10,000. So this area would hold 10,000 people at 2 people per square meter. What does it look like? Again, Dr. Keith Still's page. This is what it looks like if it's half a person per square meter, 1 person per square meter, and so on, 2 people per square meter. This is about what the insurrection crowd looked like right here. It goes all the way up to 6 people per square meter, Lollapalooza. Again, I think I touched on this one a little earlier in the class, but it's worth revisiting. It's really good at fact-checking crowd sizes or estimating crowd sizes, I should say, or checking estimates, because a lot of times the event organizers give you an estimated crowd, or the police that are providing security at it or supposedly supplying security at it will give you an estimate. And of course, they're way off. This is GeoSpy. This is their demo version. It's not the actual paid version. I don't pay for this tool, but you can search for locations anywhere in the world, kind of like Google Earth. But they also have this street targeting where you can really get down to the street level location. You can load images in here. And it'll show you what area it actually is in. So this is an image you can upload. It gives you the longitude and latitude of where it was shot, the city and country it was in. And you can download the whole PDF report on it and then give it feedback. Is this accurate? Is it something nearby but not quite, or is it completely incorrect? They've added a feature now, and I do caution people with this. And you can just upload the image in here. I do caution people of indoor images. It's starting to identify indoor images. So you maybe put a picture from inside a library and it should tell you. And I've used that tool a few times back when it was free. And it often got it way, way, way wrong. It was an image from Denver, Colorado inside a building. It told me it was from UCLA out in Los Angeles. It was way off. But the outdoor ones, it's really good at matching it up against satellite imagery and street view imagery. And it's really nice little feature. They're using OpenStreetMap and Mapbox here, not Google Street View or Google Earth. So they're using a little different mapping tool. Okay, so that's GeoSpy. Again, it costs some money. If I were going to do anything with it, I would probably do geolocation estimation. Good tool. And you set up a free account here, and you can go through and upload an image, and it'll give you a rough pinpoint from where it is. Also tracks EXIF data, some of the data that we pulled out of photo forensics in I think week 1, week 2. It has that built into it, which is really nice. So, and it logs your images then online, so it does track and build your images into a database to help others. So it's a real sensitive photo. I probably wouldn't use this tool, but just something you're trying to fact check. That's great. Excuse me. Also, over in your um, handout here or your schedule here in your syllabus. Resources for when you're harassed or attacked online. Hit pause for a second, open up Trollbusters. In the Trollbusters Navigator chatbot, you can register for it for free. So if you want to hit pause and do that right now, feel free. All right, welcome back. You should now have Trollbusters and the Trollbusters Navigator chatbot open up. And I'm going to show you the Trollbusters website. It's built by a friend of mine, Michelle Ferrier. She's dynamite. She founded this website when she was teaching at Ohio University. She'd been a columnist for an Ohio newspaper and was harassed online. So when she went into teaching, she went out and raised some grant money and started building out everything from short magazines to graphics to training sessions, all kinds of things in here. And many of these are up here for free. With permission, I put one of them into your class folder, the week 5 folder here, tips on dealing with harassment. And you can download it off our website too in multiple languages now too. It gives you a case scenario here. Someone is attacking my website, or someone is doxing me, putting personal information up on me. Someone is posting sexually explicit photographs without my consent. And she walks you through a little checklist of things that you want to consider doing. Someone has posted a threat. What do I do here? Then it gives you some tips on the side here, things you do to document the threats, screenshots, saving links, starting a file folder of all the materials. Also, so you can tweak your Twitter settings too to filter some of that stuff out if it's really becoming a tidal wave of harassment. We saw this some during Gamergate, very often during sports events. A lot of female sports journalists get attacked by trolls online daily. Sarah Spain from ESPN has spoken out about it quite a bit. Julie DeCaro, who used to be with the Chicago Tribune bloggers in Chicago Now. And she also worked at WSCR, The Score, reading the news each morning. She got out of it. She actually wrote a book about her harassment. So Trollbusters is really good education. I've taken a couple of Michelle's workshops when she teaches a lot of the conferences and stuff that I work at. So you can go in here and read the magazines and the lesson sheets and all of her research and everything. It's really good stuff. There's a press guide on student journalists what they can do. But a couple of years ago, around 2023, late 2023, early 2024, she developed a chatbot. Used Claude to train on her material. Claude's open source API application programming interface. She was able to build this tool called Navigator to help people go in that are maybe under a lot of stress and are being harassed. And instead of going through all this material again, or if they haven't been trained yet, can go in here and at least ask for some advice. So this is Navigator by Trollbusters. You will, if you registered for it already, you'll have a profile. Your profile will be up here and you can use it for free. Down here, it has try it out down here. And you open it up and it will give you a little chat bot. Let me hit reload here. It's not giving me the full chat bot. It's giving me a welcome page, which is kind of odd. Let me see. Okay. You have to open the little toolbar now. It used to default to this page. This is weird. This is something new for Mike. I haven't used it in about a month. If you click up here in the upper left corner, gives you this little hamburger, the little slice, 3 slices there. It's called the Mini Hamburger. It's what the developers call it. It has two navigators. UK by Trollbusters. They have a little different, in Great Britain, they have a little bit different stalking laws than we do here in the US. So she split them up. So that one's trained on UK law. Here is US, which I'll open up US. And now it gives me my little chat bot down here. It gives you some, sample prompts here. But I'm going to do one based off of, I was harassed once by a very extreme alt-right group. I am being, and I'm not going to name them because I don't want them coming after me again. Being harassed on Twitter. You have to be very specific with it too. Otherwise, it's going to ask you a bunch of follow-up questions. And LinkedIn alt-right group, and this is a true story, 2022. Posting photos of the front of my house and asking if my wife and I are okay. Okay, so just a basic prompt here. I'm being harassed on Twitter and LinkedIn by an alt-right group. Alt-right group. They're posting photos of the front of my house and asking me if my wife and I are okay. They also made threats and have trolled me on Twitter. What should I do? Okay, I can even upload if I wanted to some of the threats if I have screenshots of them, and you should always document. What's interesting about how this answers me, it'll show compassion. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm very concerned about your safety. It reacts in a human way. And this is a chat bot. The reason it reacts to you that way is it's trained to do that. It knows you're under stress because Michelle knows you're under stress. She's been through it before, and it is a very stressful, scary situation. First and most importantly, are your wife in a safe location? Stay elsewhere. Gives me some tips. Once you confirm you're in a safe place, I'll help you develop a comprehensive response plan. And I always give it feedback as I go. Yes, I am safe. What should I do about the social media harassment? It'll continue to ask some questions, but it'll give you some advice along the way. Um, Even ask for advice. Now that's new too. So then it's going to respond here. It'll keep going. And once it gets done, you can tell it, I want a comprehensive report. And it'll give you this like one-page printout of everything you're supposed to do. This is a lot easier to do, especially if you're in a stressful situation, than go through and look through all this great research. I mean, I'm not knocking the website. She has some fantastic stuff up here. That's great if you're being trained, in a non, threatening environment. But when you're really up against it, one of the last things I want to do is go in here and dig through all this information. Fortunately, I had been trained, in this situation by her prior to it happening, so I kind of knew what to do was, document everything. I even reached out to one of my buddies and had him sit on my Twitter and my LinkedIn account. He's my webmaster for Journalist Toolbox, and he helped me out for a little while and just to get away from it. And he kept me, posted if there were any serious threats or anything. Um, and she suggests, contact law enforcement about the report and doxing threats. One of the things I learned was the picture of the front of my home. This happened in October, and the photo they sent me, the lawn was bright green and the leaves were on the trees, and I'm like, that doesn't look like October in front of my house. So I reverse image searched it in Google Images, and it was a Google Street View image. It wasn't they weren't actually sitting outside my house. But my wife and I did crash somewhere else that night. We stayed at my mother-in-law's, it's just to be safe. Before we continue with the comprehensive plan, tell me about the nature of the threats. It was more implied intimidation. Side of doxing my home with a photo. So it's really implied, are you and your wife okay? That type of thing is very, they're implying something there, and it wasn't too hard to read between the lines. Um, it also asked me about, are the individuals acting independently? No, because there was a theme to everything they do. The other thing too is once you're harassed by one of these groups, sometimes you go on a list, and every 3 to 6 months, they may come after you again. But each time it was less and less for me, and it eventually stopped. I think about a year and a half later. But just about every October or March, I heard from them. They would show up in my LinkedIn feed, show up in my Twitter feed. They just come back and come after me for a little while. It's pretty innocuous stuff. Then, okay, so now it's starting to give me tips. Screenshot everything, possibly file a repeat for and report to platforms immediately that you're being harassed. That's another good one. They will take down those accounts. Block and report, but also send that at Twitter, at X or contact LinkedIn contact. Tell them, hey, I've got a bunch of people harassing me on my account. You can even pause your account. And, I had my webmaster actually go through and delete out stuff as we went, which was great of him to help me with that. So this is a really good tool in case you're harassed. Again, fact checkers, people that do digital forensics work, we're often targets. And I want to make sure that you're prepared to deal with these situations. I also strongly encourage, taking like one of her workshops here, or at least reading through the digital hygiene lessons, the threat infographics right here that I showed you that's in your folder. So, please do take advantage of this free training. It's dynamite. So that is it for this week. Next week, we're going to start talking about your final paper. So we'll see you then.